Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Do we have one of those? Yep. Testing 1, testing 2, testing 3, testing 4.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Testing. Yep.
Okay, welcome to Fireside Chat. I'm not. I think you have to kind of like swallow this microphone to make it work. Okay, here we are. Welcome to Fireside Chat. Lots to cover as usual. We're going to have I'll do a little opening remarks, some staff introductions. Also, Amanda Rubel will be talking a little bit about her role in assisted living and on the sales side there and transitioning people. New resident introductions, our operating budget. Christy will talk a little bit about what that looks like for 2023. Elevator updates. Elevator updates. Does anybody care about elevator updates? Yeah. Nancy Reynolds just told me that they're thinking about putting in a zip line. I'm thinking maybe that's a good idea. Maybe a hot air balloon. No, I know, an escalator. That's what we'll do. Okay. I'm screaming in the microphone. It's the loudest it can be. All right. If I get any closer to this thing, I'm gonna be eating it. Okay. All right. Well, I'll try to scream. Make it work. Okay, is this one better? You know, it's like this is something we're going to enjoy forever. I'm just sure of it. All right, let's try that. Okay. Campus improvements. We'll talk a little bit about that. Did anybody notice anything new around here at all? Yeah. So I'll cover that in a second. Dining services update from Jeff. Resident council updates as always, and then I'll finish up with some other announcements. So the the Anderson Hall. I mean, is this beautiful or what? Now I know not everybody's gotten in there yet, but I mean, this is a class operation. I was a little nervous about it though, so I had food service remove all of the tomatoes from the menus in fear that I wouldn't be able to say it was going to open on time, and I didn't want to be wearing those tomatoes. But we'll get them back in time for meal service. We are all very excited, and I hope that this is the last time we have to have our regular meeting here. We can have it in Anderson Hall. I just think it's gorgeous. It is totally in keeping with a look and feel that is what we are, but it has a quality level. It's not over the top. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the design work from Methuen and also from Anderson and their construction work. Yeah, we got a few more things we got to get through to make it all perfect, but I think this is just really a nice addition to the group. And we're going to have our staff holiday party this weekend, and we want you to know that as residents, you're invited to participate and plug in a lot. Yeah. I understand that it's not, quote, for residents, but your engagement with staff people is important, right? I mean, you are the ones who are making this all possible. So we do want to have you be plugged into this and not to be feel like you can't participate. You cannot eat all the cookies is what Judy's getting at. All right. So we'll eat your cookie before you come and then join in. So that will happen on Sunday. I want to also mention that, West Tower project, we continue this process. I think in a couple of weeks, we'll get a better idea what's doable, what's not doable. So again, I don't have any big updates there. That's just kind of where we are on it. It's a challenging process. There's still obviously the CEO search process. They have aggregated the information that was shared at the various focus groups. When the DEFIT group was here, that information, once it's available to me, I'll make sure that it gets sent out. It's your way of understanding, did this group understand what you said? And I believe that they did. I got just some summary of it, and I thought, okay, I think they do understand. So you will get a little bit of that summary as well. I wanted to mention one other thing too. Sometimes people will, if they don't like something in food service, they'll say, "Oh, Morrison," and I defend Morrison because I think Morrison's a great relationship. We were on a call this morning, talking about some new developments that they as a group are working with and we may be involved with. And it's called like nutrigenics. The idea is how every individual in Horizon House, if they chose, could be a part of a program to understand what would be the most appropriate types of foods and types of minerals, types of whatever that you should be consuming to just simply live better based on who you are. This ties into what Lori's doing with the Beam Center, which is about mobility. We're all about how do you live longer independently? Somebody else has got, the cruise ship orientation. Ours is let's live longer, more healthy in independent living. And we want to sponsor programs, whether it is mobility and exercise, overall wellness, health, and the foods you eat, and we want to support that via Morrison. They've got the ideas on the health side in ways that we could never come up with on our own. And collectively over time, our hope is that everybody is just plain living longer and living independently longer. So we'll know more about that later. This was just a brainstorm session, but this is the kind of programming that Morrison can bring to the table that we can't gin up on our own. So hopefully that's something that you will appreciate when we get that off the ground. And let's see, I think then we're going to move to some new staff introductions. And that's going to be done by Silverina. And here she comes.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Happy Friday. Nice to see you all. I was snowed in at home yesterday, so I'm glad I was able to make it. I think I got here like 5 minutes ago. So I'm here to present to you guys our new staff introductions. And they told me there's a clicker, so we're going to see if I know how to work this. Oh, there we go. All right, so first from assisted living, we have Meskarim Mahatim. She's going to be our elder care LPN. And then we have Kat Rohan. She is our Associate Director of Resident Care. And then I'm sure you guys have seen her walking around. I hope you all have seen her and said hello. We have Anissa White, who is our security, and she comes to us. I believe she gets here about 3 and she works until 11:30. And then my newer folks, I just onboarded them on Tuesday. So I don't know if you all have had the opportunity to meet them or see their faces just yet, but we have Michael Hughley, who's going to be our front desk associate. And then we have, Siona Hatfield, who's our housekeeper for EVS. And that's all I have. And so now we're going to bring up Amanda. Perfect. Thank you all.
Hi, everybody. It's Amanda Ruble, like Russian money is what we say. It's nice to see you. I've been at the Horizon House now for about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm joining you as your assisted living sales manager, which is a position I think that has been part of Horizon House in the past, but then got absorbed by a few positions. And then it was decided it would be an important decision to bring this role back. So, even just in the few short weeks that I've been here, it sounds like the residents have a need to sort of demystify assisted living. It's right above us. It's 2 beautiful, glorious floors with wonderful caregivers and amazing residents. But one of my jobs is to help you understand more about what happens in assisted living, when the time is to move, what resources are available to you. So working with the communications team, I know you'd like some more materials, that sort of thing. So we're going to work on giving you the materials you need to understand assisted living, but also think of me as a personal resource if you have any questions. I'm also tasked with helping with the transition. Should you decide to move to assisted living or have the need to move, I'll work with you, your family, your power of attorney to make that a smooth transition so that it's easy and stress-free, because I know it's not an easy decision. It's not easy to think about downsizing again. So I want to help with that. And as well, one of the things that I've really appreciated in the month that I've been here is just the transparency of the finances and the census and that sort of thing. And so I think everybody knows that the assisted living census has been not quite where we want it. So working again, internally, externally, working with SNFs or SNFs, meaning like skilled care nursing homes, just some external resources to help let people know who aren't already at Horizon House what an amazing assisted living offering we have. So that's what I'll be here to do. I'm a mom. I've got 2 girls. One is 8, one is 13. We live in North Capitol Hill. They go to St. Joe's. And I'm excited to learn more about all of you and be a resource. I look forward to working with you. Don't be afraid to see me. Take care. I sit in the sales offices. So yes.
Good morning. And I am super excited to have Amanda. And I'm super excited to have new residents to introduce. So I'm in charge of my own slides this time. Oh, it's right here. Thank you. So everyone except one new resident is here. So as you can see, we have your picture displayed. But if you don't mind when I introduce you, just standing up just briefly and waving so everyone can see your faces in person, that would be great. So first up, Peter Greenfield and Judith Starbuck. Peter was born in New York City. He earned his BA from Reed College and Juris Doctor degree from the University of Chicago and worked as a lawyer. He is a member and former president of the King County Bar Association, a member of the ACLU, Amnesty International, Washington State Democrats, Seattle Perugia Sister City Association, and is the Reed Puget Sound Alumni Chapter Reading Group Coordinator. Peter's interests include the study of languages, piano, literature, and film. Judith was born in Salem, Ohio. She attended Kent State University and art school in Seattle and was a legislative assistant and self-employed jewelry handcrafter. Judith is a member of the Nature Conservancy, Friends of Madrona Woods, Big Sisters, YWCA, the Food Bank, and the ACLU. She enjoys walking, reading, photography, Tai Chi, and has done a yoga practice for years. Welcome to Horizon House, Peter and Judith. Peter is not with us today. Peter was born in England. He attended the University of Washington and was a shop owner that specialized in greeting cards, and he works as an artist. He enjoys photography, history, and movies. Welcome, Peter. And David and Vicki Kramers. Vicki was born in Fort Worth, Texas. She earned her BS and 5th year for teaching and worked as an elementary school teacher and as a real estate agent. She enjoys cooking, reading, movies, drawing, jazzercise, sewing, knitting. Fun fact, Vicki owns a collection of approximately 125 vintage compacts, which I hope we will get to see in the display case sometime. Dave was born in Pasadena, California. He earned his BS in business from UCLA and was a high school teacher. His interests include skiing, fly fishing, soaring, and bioscience. And you didn't have this in your bio, but you're an artist as well. Welcome, Vicki and Dave. And next up is Christy Seymour with a budget update.
There we go. And I'll take this off. Can you hear me okay back there? No, it was a little hard. Okay, good. Well, you probably all know that the Board of Trustees has approved the budget for 2023. You all should have received a letter from Mike right before Thanksgiving with the notification of the rate increase. And you should have received another letter this week from me and the accounting team with your specific apartment fee increase. So it should come as no surprise that our monthly fee increase for this year is 8%. And of course, inflation is the biggest driver of this increase. We know that we have had inflation in the United States of 8.3% for this year. And that is something we have not seen in decades. And once prices go up, we typically do not see them come down. It is a one way only. Some things might come down, but most of the time it is up. And even if the rate of inflation drops, those prices are still elevated. So I wanted to go back and look to see when Horizon House gave an 8% or higher rate increase in our history. And I had to go back to 2002. We did an 8% rate increase back in 2002. And between 2003 and 2022, we did a 3.75% rate increase on average over those 20 years. So we are very intentional about keeping our rates as low as possible. We always look to the expense side of things before we look to residents to fund our operations. I want to share with you some of the impact that inflation has had on Horizon House. I did a year-over-year comparison of various products that we purchase on an ongoing basis. I looked at our supplies, and now supplies aren't a huge part of our budget. Most of our budget comes from labor, no surprise. But on the supplies that I did look at, I started with office supplies. And when I look at paper products, which is the largest increase, those have increased 40 to 45% over the course of 1 year. Again, a small part of the budget, but very impactful. Overall, when I look at office supplies, just kind of a random sample, the average was 20%. I did the same thing with our environmental services supplies. These are our cleaning supplies, our garbage can liners, various paper products included in there as well. That averaged 23% year over year. Medical supplies for assisted living, those averaged 12% year over year. I also looked at food costs. You know that food is an important part of our lives. I looked at our 3 largest suppliers and looked at a variety of produce, meat, grocery items, and the average increase for the year was 13%. We continually receive notices from vendors with their price increases throughout the year. Some of these have not gone into effect yet, and the lowest increases that I have seen so far is a 5% increase. Some of them are increasing rates in line with the consumer price index, which of course is in line with inflation, so closer to that 8%. So some of these have not gone into effect yet, and they will be coming into effect next year. But those are some of the challenges that we are facing with inflation. So let's talk about labor. Labor, again, is 2/3 of our operating budget. And you know that we've had challenges attracting staff to Horizon House. We have had a full-time recruiter for the last year or so. So we've had better luck recently getting staff in the organization, but it's still challenging. And we needed to ensure that our wage rates were within the marketplace, right? So when we did a compensation analysis, and when you do that, you get a range of rates, some at the low end in the marketplace, some at the high end of the marketplace. And we wanted Horizon House to be at that high end of that range. When we did the compensation analysis for every position, We landed on roughly an average of a 5% rate increase for staff in order to put all positions up in that upper tier of that wage scale. So staff will be receiving on average a 4 to 5% rate increase. That's about 85% of our staff will receive that 4 to 5% increase. Some of them will get much larger increases because they fell down here on this low end of the range scale, and we needed to make those adjustments. Typically, our or wage increases are about 3% a year. So this is a little bit higher, but I want to point out that we've also had to make several wage adjustments in the last 12 to 16 months. And over the last 12 to 16 months, our wage rates have increased on average 7.5%. So now we're adding another 5% on top of that. So basically for those roughly maybe 2.5 years, it's a 12.5 rate increase for our employees. We also, of course, want to look at our benefits to our employees to make sure that we are providing competitive benefit package that will help attract and retain our staff. On our healthcare program, Horizon House has 2 healthcare programs that staff can choose from, and we were able to reduce the out-of-pocket total costs that employees have to pay for health services this year. We were able to lower the amount of time that an employee must be employed at Horizon House before they can take advantage of the healthcare benefits. So previously it was 60 days. Now after 30 days, they can join our healthcare program. We've also been able to lower our deductibles. So our highest deductible is $1,000. Our lowest deductible is $500. And if you're shopping for healthcare insurance, you know that today's marketplace, those are pretty darn low deductibles. And then most importantly, I think, we've been able to reduce the cost to employees to pay for those programs. So they share in the cost of the premium. Some programs are free and they can take advantage of it at no cost, but others they have to pay a little bit more for. And particularly for adding a spouse or children, families, we were able to reduce the overall cost to the employee to get their family members on our program. So we're very happy that we were able to offer that to our staff. Another benefit enhancement that we made this year does not impact the operating budget because it comes from all of you who have donated to the Partners in Caring campaign fund endowment. We are able to expand the benefits under the staff scholarship fund. So where previously staff could apply for scholarships for education for up to $20,000 if you were in a healthcare program, we have now expanded that benefit to our dependents of our employees. So if there's a child, college-age child, they are now eligible to be part of that program. So we're very excited about that piece, and we got really good feedback from our staff about that. That'll start in January. The other piece that we've expanded as part of the staff scholarship fund is we have added a student loan repayment plan. So staff are eligible for $100 a month to pay back any student loan debt that they may have. Now that one's not expanded to dependents yet. We'll see what the response is, but maybe someday we'll be able to expand it to their dependents. All right, so on the slide, we see our budget assumptions. So there's that 8% rate increase. Occupancy, 90% in independent living. That's right about where we are right now. In assisted living, we're budgeting 75% occupancy. That's just a little higher than what we're actually averaging this year. And the number of staff that we have budgeted for this year is very similar to what we have budgeted in 2022. Now, if you've been paying attention to the CEO reports, there's a financial update in there every month. And in that update, you will know that we are beating our budget this year because we are below budget on our labor. We do not have the staff. We have not fully filled all of the positions that we built into the 2022 budget. Therefore, we have a positive variance. And when I say that we have a similar number of staff members built into the 23 budget, we could very well end up in a situation where we are this year, where we're ahead of budget because we are not able to fill all of the positions for all 12 months of the year. Now, I want you to understand that we're not trying to sandbag the budget, right? Our goal is not to say, oh my gosh, yay, we beat our budget, woohoo. That is not it at all. We are trying to allocate labor dollars to this budget so that we are fully functioning organization with the staffing levels that we need to do so. That is the goal. We have had staff who have been working excessive amounts of overtime, and they are burning out, and we do not want that. So we do want these staff people to come to the organization, which is why we're making all these enhancements. So we may well see ourselves in a similar position next year with not having be able to fill all the positions, but that is the goal. We've also been able to reallocate some of the labor dollars. So while we may have some additional dollars in one department, we've now allocated them to another area. And one of those areas that we have allocated those to is security. You may have seen additional security. We saw one of them introduced this morning. I want to talk about that just a bit. We have a daily security report that several leaders of the organization receive on a daily basis. And in that report, there is an increasing number of incidents that require somebody to respond. Now, these are not notable events. There's no crime happening here, but it does require somebody to respond to say, it's time to move along. And we don't want to take our reception staff or, engineers or janitorial staff off their jobs, maybe doing work in your apartments, to go to respond to these events. And so we wanted to make sure that we had security staff, somebody who can actually respond and help these folks move along. The security staff are really the eyes and ears of the organization, right? While you might think, well, they're not doing anything, they're just standing there. They are watching. We don't want them to be distracted. This is very intentional. We want them to be out there, being the eyes and ears, seeing what's going on and to be able to respond. We don't want them distracted with other things. So that is why they are here. They are here to be those eyes and ears for us. All right, reset, please. Thank you. All right, so here's a snapshot of the budget. You can see our revenues are increasing just over $2 million. That's an 8.5% increase. So that 8% monthly fee increase, as well as a slight increase in the assisted living occupancy, is creating that 8.5%. On the expense side, our expenses are increasing 2.39 million against annualized actuals. So that annualized actuals excludes some of the labor that we were not able to fill. That's why it's such a large increase. And of course, we've been allocating that labor dollars to new positions. So you can see the net revenue there is just $300,000 or so below what we would expect to receive this year. Now I want to address the issue, the impact of what the West Tower might have on this year's operating budget. So if the board approves to move forward with the West Tower, we would start relocating residents in 23. And the cost of those relocations is not built into this budget. I wanted to make a budget that showed only the typical operating costs that it is required to run this organization. So I've excluded all of the costs that might be incurred if we have to do relocation. It also does not include the CEO transition costs. Again, this is not a typical expense. It happens once every 5, 10 years, whatever. So I did not include that in here. So the cost of the DEFIT group, Dan and Elizabeth, who were here a few weeks ago, their contract is not included in this. Neither is the cost that we might have to pay for a sign-on bonus or moving costs for a new CEO. None of that is included. So if we were to add that back in to the expenses here in this budget, we would probably be looking at a margin of 3 to 4%, whereas right now we are budgeting a 5.5%. So I guess that's all I have right now on the budget. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take some. If you don't want to ask any here, please feel free to stop by, call, email. Happy to respond to any of your questions or concerns on the budget. Well, that's a good sign if there's no questions. Thank you. And now for some more good news. Here's Sean to talk about elevators.
Thanks, Christine. I'm not sure if everyone's going to agree with it being good news, but anyway, oh yeah. All right. So yeah, I wanted to share some important updates about our elevators. But wanted to start with the background on kind of what has transpired. I know there's a lot of questions about kind of what's going on and what's being done. So let me start with where this all started. Elevator 11 has been the main source of our problems, as all of you know. And the problems started late last year, and they were repeated and happening frequently. One after another, maybe 3 or 4 calls a week. Sometimes it felt like we were calling in for service because of an outage. And so in November of 21, we met with our current elevator vendor because we wanted to go over and remind them of our expectations and to determine what the game plan was for elevator 11. Following that conversation in January, we met with a third-party elevator manufacturer to gain perspective on how our current vendor is doing. And that definitely gave us a lot of perspective, new understanding on where we had opportunities to do better and what they were doing good and what they could do better. Following that meeting with the elevator manufacturer, we had a follow-up meeting with the current vendor to review the findings and to go over the game plan to address all of the issues. During that conversation, the vendor made it very clear that they were very interested in keeping our business and wanted to do everything to make things right. So we felt after doing business with them for well over a decade that we wanted to pursue that and see if they can actually live up to what they were promising. We outlined our expectations and also the consequences if they were not met, being that it was coincidentally this year was the end of their agreement of our contract with them. So wanted to take advantage of that opportunity if things didn't go as planned. By February of 22, the current vendors started to make repairs to all the issues that were identified by the manufacturer. By March, elevator 11 was repaired and back online after being down for quite some time, several weeks, if several months, actually. By June, the current vendor had completed a number of projects on all of the elevators to address the issues, again, that the manufacturer had identified. And during this time, several months had passed and elevator 11 was running very well, no issues. As far as we could tell, we were out of the woods when it came to the problems we were experiencing with that particular elevator. However, in August of this year, elevator 11 started experiencing more unplanned outages, very much that just like what it was experiencing before. Sorry if I'm not advancing at the right spot. Did you already advance, Risa? Okay. Sorry. Oops. Sorry about that. So we started experiencing problems again with elevator 11 in August. We were experiencing extended timelines for the repairs. they were not responding nearly as quickly as we were hoping they would, and it was just taking much longer to get the elevator back online. By November, just last month, a couple weeks ago, we recently had the elevator manufacturer back on site again to review for a second time where things were at. So basically, to cut to where we're at now, in terms of elevator 11, December 5th is when they plan on starting to make repairs, and they're hoping to make those repairs completed by December 8th. Our service agreement is ending on the 31st of December, and starting January 1, we're going to be transitioning to a new elevator service company, which I'm very excited about, and I'm confident that they will help us get to a better place when it comes to our elevators and their uptime. And yeah, I'm very happy about that. I want to apologize for the amount of outages we've been having, particularly with the North Tower elevators. And I hope that everyone can see the positivity and moving in this direction. So if there's any questions regarding the elevators, I'll be available after the fireside chat to answer any questions. One last thing before I forget, as we finish up the year with our current vendor, they will be completing our annual inspections. So you can expect various outages around the campus that are going to be planned and scheduled, and we will communicate in advance so that we can make the community aware of when to expect those to happen. Each elevator would be out of service for about 3 hours, one at a time, to complete those inspections. Yeah, I think that's about all I had. Again, please let me know if there's any questions. I'll be right in the back following this meeting. I'd like to pass it on to Eli Lemansky to go over our campus improvements. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning. So campus improvements, exciting things. Oh, I've got a clicker. Okay. And it's the big one in the middle. It's the, okay. All right. So, just to, reiterate, the Sky Lounge is still waiting for its a new projector and some microphones and speakers. And again, we're going to redo the kitchenettes that we're expecting in April. And the Central and East Tower corridors. Now, this is the big project that's coming up. We're going to start with floors 16, 17, and 18, and expect to begin December 12th. So everybody in the Central and East Tower, you should have already received notices. And if not, feel free to contact reception, Joan, Lauren, and just to verify that you have all the information you need just to be emotionally prepared for a little bit of turmoil over the next couple of months. Each floor is expected to have about 2.5 to 3 months of disruption in the hallway. And some of you may ask that, well, why not do just one floor at a time, and maybe you can knock it out in 1.5 months each floor? Well, that will really extend the overall duration of the project. So we just want to keep it reasonable. We could also do all 15 floors at once, and that'll really shorten the duration of the project, but it'll also mean that each floor will be disrupted for 9 months. So anyways, we hope everybody can just kind of bear with us. There will be times when you're scratching your head wondering, gosh, no work is really happening on my floor. Well, that's because they're on the other 2 floors doing work. Okay, so Anderson Hall refresh. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really take that as a compliment for me because it is I alone who can identify who you should really be thanking. Okay, so I mean, this has just been a long time coming. It began with, you know, a very comprehensive report from Pat Fritz and the Event Support Committee. We had lots of resident involvement through the duration of the design. You know, we have our resident architects that were involved, Grant Hildebrand, George Loschke, and Jane Hastings. There's just so many people, including, and most recently, Brian Holtz. Talk about getting this project prepared for this Sunday's event. So, and by the way, the list really goes on. Lots of resident engagement. Interestingly, well, actually, I won't go into too much detail for the sake of time, but we're obviously going to wrap up some loose ends. It's going to take several months, but of course, no project is completely, completed. But chairs will be a big thing. We can expect those to arrive by late January. Or I'm sorry, no, those are the microphones. Oh, I can hear the phone calls now. Okay, the new chairs are expected in April, and again, it's just a matter of supply chain disruption. That's the catchphrase that we all need to remember. And but we will also start off with only 3 microphones, okay? But eventually we'll get the remaining microphones, hopefully before the end of January. What do you say? Oh, we will. That's a great question. Thank you, Barbara. The question is what do we sit on in the meantime? Well, we all remember what it was like to sit Indian style on the floor. No, we still have our existing chairs that are a little torn up on the sides. We will cover the bottom of those feet so that they will not mark up our brand new wood floor. And and that should be able to last us for a couple of months until the new chairs arrive. And let's not forget, we have a comment box. So if you feel like, gosh, Eli's never at his desk to answer my phone call, or, maybe you just want to be anonymous and not let me know what the wonderful suggestion or the wonderful compliment is, who's providing this wonderful compliment, feel free to use the comment box. It is over to my left, over at this Terry Avenue corridor, where the renderings of future projects are showcased. All right, that's it for me. Next, Jeff Townley with Dining Services. With Dining Services. Thank you.
All right. So not the big button in the middle. Okay. All right, there we go. So like I always like to do, start off with a couple of our past events that we've had going on. November 11th, Friday, was Veterans Day, and we decided this year to provide free dinner for all veterans and things like that for that night. And we served 44 complimentary dinners. Sorry about that. 44 complimentary dinners to veterans that night. It was just fantastic. Oliver knocked it out with some decorations again. Unfortunately, I can't get all the pictures up there, but a couple of them are provided there, and we had some nice red, white, and blue cupcakes. So it was a really fun night, and can't thank all our veterans enough for everything they've done for us in this country, for sure. Then Thanksgiving, a couple of weeks later, had about 250 meals served, I think, that day. Real nice picture of the staff that we had working that day. Our new catering manager, Janine, out front there. Once again, I wish I could have all the pictures, but Oliver with the table decor and everything was just beautiful and fantastic, and getting Janine trained up on all that stuff as well. So Thanksgiving was great. A lot of great compliments and feedback from the food and everything. It went very smoothly, and so just very proud and happy for that event. All right, next slide. Let's see here. Sodium in your diet. I should probably have Jessica, our new registered dietitian, up here talking about this, but I thought I'd try to talk salt a little bit. Definitely this topic comes up from time to time with residents here at Horizon House. And so I just thought I would shoot out some stats that I did some research on. So according to the American Heart Association, they suggest 2,300 milligrams of salt per day, where 1,500 is ideal. So I decided to look at our menu and our special lists and stuff like that and see kind of where we're at on that range there. And so currently our regular menu that you can order off of in the dining room and stuff like that, we have 13 entree type items on there. 5 of those are below 417 milligrams of salt. 5 are between 417 and 800 milligrams, and only 3 are above 800 milligrams in salt. The menu packet that we put out each week has all of our specials and buffet entrees, and that has about 40 entree items on it. And I picked one of them out. I didn't go through all 4 weeks, but one of them we had 23 of the entree items below the 417, 14 between 417 and 800, and only 3 above 800. So, you know, I really feel like we have a good balance of food with low and moderate sodium levels. Even if foods are at that 800 milligrams of sodium, that's close to 1/3 of your recommended daily intake, and according to the American Heart Association. So that's, you know, 1 meal a day perhaps. So, you know, and remember too, you know, maybe some people might want a higher item at dinner that's going to have more sodium because it tastes really good. And maybe they'll have something at lunch or breakfast without so much. So, you know, there's definitely ways to work with your diet in that. And we have our new dietitian, Jessica Bretrude. So feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions and need help, you know, kind of forming your diet for what you need. Moving on, we had our pumpkin guessing contest, and who would have thought that John Pound was the winner for guessing the correct pounds of the pumpkin? He guessed 239 pounds. The actual weight was 236. So he was pretty darn close there. And he's got a nice certificate for salon there. So I hope he enjoys that. And we'll look forward to doing that again next year. And then kind of the big news of the day, we have a big retirement coming up. Don Cole is a dishwasher here. He has worked here 45 years as a dishwasher. And thank you. Yeah. It is well deserved that. And, I wanted to get him out here in front of y'all to do this presentation, but he likes to kind of be behind the scenes and everything. So he wasn't really comfortable coming out here. But Chef and I put our heads together and came up with a couple stats that we roughly estimated on. He's washed over 2 million items in his time here at Horizon House, and that's servicing about 350,000 people while working in about 93,600 hours. Wow, is all I can say about that. And, being a dishwasher is kind of a thankless position, and you're in the back, you're not seen by the residents, by the, rest of the community and everything. And so it's just, I can't say enough about the dedication he's had. Never had to worry about him not showing up or not working hard while he was here. He's definitely going to be missed without a doubt. And, just have to congratulate him on the service. And we're so proud to have had him here that time. And, if any of you happen to see him maybe coming in and out of the building or whatever, definitely, just give him a big thank you for his service here. And I think I'll leave it up to Mike. He wanted to come up, say a couple words as well. But that's all I got. So have a great day.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Yes. I mean, really, Don Cole. And, Don is a shy guy and, he doesn't like the public, but I'm sure like all of us, acknowledgement and appreciation matters, right? Even if we don't outwardly show it. So if you do see Don, please acknowledge his service. When you think about somebody working somewhere for 45 years, I mean, that is really impressive. And when I walk through the kitchen every morning when I come to work and fill up my water bottle, and Don is hustling all the time. So sometimes you could say, well, hey, maybe, it's like, the kind of the people that work for someplace, the postal service or whatever, and you think maybe they're just kind of slacking off and kind of just biding their time. Don is always moving. He's always doing his job and trying to help out wherever he's asked to help out. He's a go-to guy. And, we don't often sing the praises of the silent people. Oftentimes it's the people who are, yak, 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 that we're always kind of our attention appreciation is towards. But here's a guy who just quietly does his job, and he's done it for 45 years. And it must be a decent place to work if he wants to be here for 45 years. So we're greatly appreciative for Don. Please acknowledge him. We have a little gift bag for him. I brought it just in case he was going to show, but I kind of knew maybe you would. So anyway, thanks, Don Cole. And now I think it's let's see, Residents Council, right, Liz?
Do I dare?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 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 As you all know by now, the annual Employee Recognition Holiday Party, which the resident council provides for staff and their families, will occur just 2 days from now on December 4th. Gift checks from the contributions of our residents during the employee recognition drive will be distributed at that party. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you, to the residents of Horizon House who have been so generous in donating to this fund. Because of your generosity, together we raised more than $465,000. Which will be distributed to our faithful and hardworking employees next Sunday. We have been told this is a record-breaking amount. Because of your generosity, our employees are receiving a very nice gift. Bravo to all of you. And my good friend Wilbur over here tells me he's going to be at the holiday party.
About that party, according to the bylaws of the Residents Council, every event funded by the Residents Council must be open to all residents. So, of course, all residents are welcome to attend. We just want to make it clear that this holiday party has been planned to thank our employees, and the main purpose is to distribute the gift checks funded by all of you residents. Okay. The December 20 meeting of the Residents Council will feature the annual report of the council president, which will be a retrospective of the work of the council for the past year. And in addition, there will be a recap of the ERF drive. You know, that stands for the Employee Recognition Fund, and Employee Recognition Holiday Party, along with a spotlight on our Wednesday night live offerings led by our Nancy Federici. We will include an appreciation farewell to the 5 council members who are retiring from the council at the end of this calendar year. And we invite you all to come to this important culmination of the calendar year's activities of the council. Mark your calendars now and plan also to attend our annual New Year's Eve Gala for all residents with a celebratory theme, which begins with the usual happy hour and a band for the occasion, and continues with a special dinner in the terrace dining room to celebrate the dawn of a new year. So watch for further announcements about this timing and all of that. Thank you. Mike, Zach?
Great. Thank you both. And thanks to all of the residents who support our staff. Our staff know it and they understand it and they appreciate you as well. And that's what kind of makes the community work. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? We care about the staff cares about you, and we have a good track record of that kind of recognition. A couple of other bright spots and announcements. We are going to, we're going to have surveys. We always survey every year. Interesting, I was getting information on another community that asked them about, well, when do you do your surveys? And they said, well, we don't do any surveys for residents. Then we'd know what they cared about. And we're not going to do that because then you have to actually do something. But we do our surveys. And, I was praying that we could do this after the elevators were working for fear. But I trust that you will balance out your points of view. And what matters most really is that you have a chance to chime in about what's working and what's not. We're not perfect. We don't claim to be, but we constantly work at it. And it's not always easy, but hopefully the overall experience is a good one and that you'll chime in accordingly. So you're going to get these surveys in the next couple of weeks. We'll do a separate one for assisted living, and that will happen in January. But if it will come via email, if you don't have email, it'll go in your box. So chime in on what you think about Horizon House and the various questions. We are shifting away from what the industry does in surveying. The industry in the past has done what's called, benchmark surveying. This is where you get to find out that you're a B player in a class of C players, and that's not exactly helpful. We want to know specifically, where are the areas that we need to improve. A lot of which we know, but we don't want to keep making assumptions. It's always good to get fresh information from residents and focus on what people care about. And that's what we'll do. We read this stuff, we take it seriously, we try to have strategy around improvements, and we hopefully chip away. And then in some areas, they aren't as strong, and we got to chip away some more. Anyway, look for those in the next couple of days. Also, we have an art studio sale happening today. So hopefully, I hear it. I hear the art studio gang is chiming in. So if you can show up at B2 sometime between 10 and 4 with, very large wallets, it would be really appreciated. There will be great things in terms of paintings, pottery, jewelry, cards, all sorts of things that people participating in the art studio have created. And we'd love for everyone to participate. The proceeds are going to the money market, which goes to ultimately serve residents in programming. So that's a good thing. And if you have any questions, call Marianne Counts at 3254. Okay, Veterans Day. Again, it was touched on a little bit earlier. We had a little bit different approach this year. Sometimes in the past, we've had some dedicated residents, Admiral Hayward in particular, who really took charge of making that work. And Admiral Hayward is no longer with us, and we needed to put together a program in recognition of our veterans. And we had Erica Campbell and Linda Purdy and Ildiko were all doing things in independent living and in assisted living to help make that celebration a good one. As we go into next year and we have that celebration, we're going to want to have some residents help plug in so they can help make that work also. But again, we did come up with a good program, and hopefully you had a chance to participate and kind of see the work that people had done to recognize our veterans. Okay, let's see. I think there's a twinkle, twinkle, little whatever at the park today. What time is that, Risa? 4:30. When it gets pitch black. Yeah, right around 4:30. So if you're around near the park, that should be a nice event as well. That is it for our regular program stuff. Any questions that you want to ask that haven't been asked? You can always come and see us. But if there are some questions you have now for the good of the order, please chime in. Anybody? Okay. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday and next time in Anderson Hall. All righty.